Hi. Oh, I'm just getting the hang of getting all these videos running the way they're supposed to be. Anyway, sorry I'm a few minutes late today, but I just I don't know, just getting used to everything. Um, so there's a lot in the news today. Um, First of all, yesterday, I guess the Justice Department released transcripts, and I guess the recordings, the audios are out too of is it Ghislaine? Is that how you say her name? Ghislaine Maxwell? Her interview with the Trump administration's lawyers or whatever. Yeah, of course she wants a pardon. She's not going to admit that you know, she and Jeffrey hung out with Trump all the time. Trump knows exactly what kind of woman Jeffrey likes because he was there and he likes them too. I think he's admitted that he had similar taste to women as Jeffrey. He flew on his jets. You know what happened on those jets. You know it. But we're going to go through some articles. I have access to the New York Times here, so I'm going to go through that article first, I guess. Let me find myself here and share it. All right, so 5, yes, can't pay for my subscription, so my access will expire any moment, but 5 takeaways. Let me find myself here so I can see where I am. I don't know which one to do here. You can't really see everything if I do it that way. See, that's really frustrating that there's not like a way I can show the whole screen. Let's see if it looks how it looks. Well, you can see the writing. So I guess I'll do it this way. So 5 takeaways from Ghislaine. I listened to the very beginning of the audio and I heard her little British accent. She never spoke when she was at my house. I did not hear her speak. And I think I might have known that she was British, but she didn't speak. I guess she was visiting. I kind of reviewed the history of Jeffrey and her and Ghislaine, right? I think that's how she pronounced her name. Ghislaine Maxwell. She was, I guess Jeffrey knew her father, or her father knew Jeffrey. And her father was some big, very wealthy guy in the UK, and I know he had connections to Jeffrey, who was in financial services, I guess, and connected to Bear Stearns in New York. And they don't really know when Ghislaine and Jeffrey ever met. They suspect, it's earlier than when they started seeing them together in the 90s. Some people say the 80s, like early 90s. No, try late 70s. My people brought everybody together and very intentionally with a plan for the future. Jeffrey had a mission, as did Ghislaine. But she's doing what anyone would expect her to do, knowing what she's guilty of. I didn't really connect with her. I didn't like her. She never touched me. She just liked watching. And she was a very strange person, I thought, at the time. So 5 takeaways from Ghislaine Maxwell's interview about Jeffrey Epstein. In a courthouse interview with the Deputy Attorney General, Ms. Maxwell, who has been convicted of sex, trafficking, maintained that President Trump and other famous figures were not involved. Oh my goodness. How she is doing her duty, isn't she? Yes, they are involved, and she knows it. I mean, if Trump was at my house, I do not recall that Jeffrey was at my house together with Trump. That I can't put them together at my house, but they were both at my house at the same during the same period of time. Um, I remember Trump was with other people, and I do remember, Dershowitz coming around, around the same time as well. Um, I'm trying to remember, there were 2 different guys, they all had suits on and with Trump, and I know there was my father around, lurking around. There were 2 other guys, and I don't know who they were. Um, it wasn't Jeffrey. Jeffrey didn't come in a suit, he always came in casual clothes, as I recall. Um, yeah, Dershowitz, he was in a suit. Yeah, there were 2 other suits with Trump when the one time I'm remembering, like, he came a couple times, and I'm kind of, like, morphing both visits. I think of 2 visits, and I'm morphing them together in my mind a little bit, you know? The ABUSE, I remember pretty clearly. It was my f when special people came to our house, my father would always put them they would always visit me in the living room. Trump came to see me in my living room, which is across from my family room. Whenever Epstein came, he was over in my family room. Like most people, when they came to see me in this manner, it was always in the family room. But special people got the living room, and Trump was one of them. And so was my cousin, George H.W. Well, no, not H. He's my uncle, George H.W. Bush. Um, uh, George Bush Jr., whatever, George Bush, George W. Bush, Jr., whatever. He's not junior because he just George W. Bush. They were brought to my living room because at the time my uncle Bush was, and I didn't grow up with him, calling him Uncle Bush or anything. It's just that he was my genetic uncle, and he did come over to my house when I grew up. So, yeah, he was around, but he wasn't an official member of our family, even though I was related to him and he came to see me and I knew him. Yeah, he came over with this. He was vice president of the United States. The last time he came with George W. Bush in tow. It was my 16th birthday. Which was 1981, October 21st, 1981. And yeah, I was DRUGGED. So, really a lot of the ABUSE extended into high school. Yes, it did. And in my mind, I want to believe it just was contained to middle school, but no, it went into my high school years. And I know by all that happened in my high school, that it extended into my high school years. It's very blurred. I didn't want to remember it because it was like my worst nightmare. Um, so you have to understand that, going to school and trying to have a normal life as a young girl and all the guys are like talking about you. It's really hard, to maintain. I couldn't go out with any guys at my high school because they all didn't understand that I was a victim. I that wasn't me, That's not the way I am at home or any other place. You know, I had to go elsewhere to find my boyfriends because there were guys that liked me for me, I guess. They heard the rumors and they didn't care or they didn't believe them. I don't know. I don't know. I did have a reputation in high school that I didn't honestly earn, but because of what happened, because of what my father did to me, boys talk and girls do too. And it was really hard to grow up that way, trying to manage my reputation and just being unable to do that, because of what my father did to me, you know. I was RAPD throughout I guess it was the first part of high school. Boys and their fathers were brought to my house, and I was given an sex drug equivalent to ecstasy, and before they arrived, and so they didn't know I took. They just thought I acted that way naturally. I didn't act that way at school. They just thought I acted that way at home or something, and I didn't. Um, and I had to be really clear about that when I went to school the next day. And I know a lot of them were very confused, like, and I didn't always remember everything either because I'm putting it away already the next morning. That's the only way I coped. I had to pretend it wasn't me because it wasn't me. If somebody forces you, and it was called, my father would call it my aspirin. If somebody forces you to take your aspirin, and it's this major, powerful drug. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are and how conservative or how pure or innocent you are. I mean, under the influence of such a powerful drug, you're not going to be in control. And I would will myself to be in control and to not allow it to affect me. But it didn't. I had no choice. My father would force it down my throat. He would make me take it before everybody arrived. It was like torture to deal with that situation as a young girl, just trying to grow up. Okay. So there they are. That's a nice picture of them. Of course, there's a client list. It says here, the Justice Department and the FBI had concluded in July that there was no specific client list. That's bullshit. For Mr. Epstein's trafficking ring. That's bullshit. Trump is on it. This is from yesterday, August 22nd. The Trump administration on Friday released the transcript of a courthouse interview with Ghislaine Maxwell, the longtime confidant of the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, who maintained that President Trump and other famous figures were not involved in the sex trafficking scheme she was convicted of. Yeah, right. In the interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, Ms. Maxwell, who has made it clear she wants to end her 20-year sentence early, of course, said many of the allegations against her and Mr. Epstein were false and swatted away a number of theories and loose ends in the case. She also insisted that a client list of the rich and powerful associated with Mr. Epstein did not exist and denied any scheme to blackmail his associates. The Justice Department and the FBI had concluded in July that there was no specific client list for Mr. Epstein's trafficking ring and no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. Mr. Epstein's victims and their families had objected to the interview, and Ms. Maxwell's subsequent transfer to a Cushier prison accused Mr. Trump of offering a sweetheart deal to someone prosecutors say has a history of self-serving falsehoods. Okay, so here we go. I don't know how to get to the beginning of this. Let's see. Wait. I switched it. Okay.
The president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
Oh, really?
I never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody.
Really?
In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects. Actually, never. So that narrative that was created and then built upon, and it just mushroomed into what basically this is like a Salem witch trial. People gone lost their minds for this thing.
Oh, really?
I understand that, but the issue is, how do you satisfy a mob who can't understand the lifestyle because it's like P. Diddy in Redux on TV with Clintons and Trump. I mean, it's bananas. And
It is bananas, but
while some of it
true.
is real,
It's
he
real.
did do those things. I'm definitely not disputing that. So that narrative that was created and then built upon and...
All right, we'll stop that. Here's what happened. Maxwell praised Trump and distanced him from Epstein. Oh my goodness. Oh, he's going to try to get her out. Get out of jail free. Yes, he is. Ms. Maxwell acknowledged the social relationship between Mr. Trump and Mr. Epstein, but denied any connection between Mr. Trump and the SEX-TRAFFICKING ring. She also denied recruiting an underage victim of Mr. Epstein, who said she had been recruited while working as a spa attendant in Mar-a-Lago, Mr. Trump's Florida estate and club in 2000. Yes, you did. I've never recruited a masseuse from Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, right. You're just trying to protect him. Of course you did. Ms. Maxwell said. Virginia Guifer, who was 16 at the time, said she was approached by Ms. Maxwell at Mar-a-Lago and invited to become Mr. Epstein's traveling masseuse. She said the two of them then groomed her to perform sexual services and passed her around like a platter of fruit to rich and powerful predators in Mr. Epstein's circle, including Prince Andrew of Britain. Yes, I know that to be true too, because Prince Andrew was at my house as well. And I just realized in the live stream the other day, maybe it was yesterday, that it was after my trip to England, and I went there in the spring. It was like May of 1979. Yeah, and May of 1979. It was after I visited, and I went through the whole story behind that, which I won't get into right now. It was after I visited England and met Prince Andrew, who, is part of my family, that he came to the US and did this. I'm pretty sure. I don't think that because he was towards the end as well. Jeffrey had been coming to my house for a little time. I told you, like 7th grade. I mean, maybe it was towards the end of 6th grade. I'm just, it was in that range. And it was towards the end that he brought a friend, and he called him Andrew. The guy was all nervous, and he was like hiding, and he didn't know what name to call himself. And he just called him, this is my friend Andrew, and he just looked at me really nervously because he was worried I would recognize him, I guess. And I didn't recognize him. I didn't. I was so traumatized by that trip to England that I was never going to recognize him. And of course he didn't speak because he knew I would recognize the British accent. But yeah, so I know all of this is true. I'm continuing. Neither Ms. Maxwell nor Mr. Blanche, who was Mr. Trump's trial lawyer before becoming Deputy Attorney General, mentioned Ms. Gwoof. How do you say her name? How to pronounce? Pronounce. Oh, it's Italian. How to pronounce? Giffer? Giffer. Oh, I would not have said it that way. Giffer. Giffer. Okay, I thought it was like Giffer or something. That probably is the original. This is the American. See, this one's different. Gif. It seems like it's French, but it's Italian, isn't it? Okay, where am I? Giffer. So they didn't mention Giffer by name during the interview, but Ms. Maxwell denied a specific allegation made by Ms. Giffer that Andrew had forced her to have sex at Ms. Maxwell's home in London as absolute rubbish. Miss Gifford died she unalived herself this year. It's very sad. Ms. Maxwell, who is seeking a pardon or reduction of her sentence, downplayed Mr. Trump's long friendship with Mr. Epstein and went out of her way to praise the president. Oh my goodness. Mr. Trump, asked whether he would consider pardoning Ms. Maxwell last month, said, "I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I haven't thought about. I never witnessed the president in any appropriate setting in any way," said Ms. Maxwell said during the interview. "The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects," as you just heard in the recording. Maxwell said she believed Epstein didn't kill himself. Okay, good. I'm glad she says that. Ms. Maxwell, who was not present for Mr. Epstein's death, speculated that Mr. Epstein did not commit, unalive himself. She did not offer any particular theory of what had instead happened, but downplayed the possibility that someone had Mr. Epstein killed with the intention of eliminating evidence of the SEXTRAFFICKING ring. "I don't see that," Ms. Maxwell said. "I think, is it possible? Of course it's possible, but I don't know of any reason why. And I don't believe in the blackmail or in any of this. I don't think Epstein had a hit on like that. If it is indeed MURDER, I believe it was an internal situation. A years-long Justice Department investigation concluded that Mr. Epstein, who was found dead in his cell with a bedsheet tied around his neck in 2019, died by, unalived himself, not foul play. Blanche appeared to play political favorites with his questions, of course. So predictable. At several crucial moments in the expansive interview, Mr. Blanche peppered Ms. Maxwell with questions about some of Mr. Epstein's associates, while dropping other lines of questioning when the conversation appeared to be politically inconvenient. Mr. Blanche, for example, asked many more questions about Mr. Epstein's relationship with former President Bill Clinton than he did about Mr. Epstein's relationship with Mr. Trump, of course. In the end, Ms. Maxwell denied that either had engaged in SEXUAL misconduct or any other inappropriate behavior, and said neither had visited Mr. Epstein's private islands. That's just not true. I know it's not. I think Bill Clinton is actually on the roster for, the flight logs that went to the private islands. So is Trump, for that matter. They flew it to that place. At one point, as Ms. Maxwell defended Mr. Epstein and denied the allegations of SEXT, she said associates of Mr. Epstein had been unfairly vilified for their relationship with him. Oh, yes. "Some are in your cabinet who you value as your co-workers," Ms. Maxwell said. She did not make it clear whom she meant, but at another point she said Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Health Secretary, once joined Mr. Epstein on a trip to hunt for dinosaur bones in the Dakotas. She added that there was no way Mr. Epstein's associates would be with him if he was a creeper because they wanted SEXUAL favors. Well, all the Kennedys, have been compromised. I mean, except for the women, they've all been compromised. I can't even imagine that Bobby Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr. would have been spared at all. He's just like the rest of them, those male Kennedys. Of course, he's in the mix. Mr. Blanche immediately moved on, and the claim quickly moved on, right? And the claim that other associates of Mr. Epstein work in the Trump administration was never brought up again. Oh, yeah, can't go there. That's a hot topic. We better avoid that. In other exchanges, Mr. Blanche came across as unusually deferential. At one point, he reassured Ms. Maxwell that if I think that you're not being honest or that you're missing something, I'm not going to. This isn't got you. When he ended the second day of the interview with Ms. Maxwell, he complimented her for going through with the interview and said that we'll be in touch soon. Yeah, to send you to a cushier jail. So, in payment for your lies about Trump, and thank you for protecting Trump, the president of the United States, protecting him so that nobody knows what a criminal the president of the United States is. Thank you. We'll be in touch soon. Maxwell discussed her and Epstein's connections to the rich and powerful. Mr. Blanche asked Miss Maxwell about many of the rich and powerful figures in Mr. Epstein's orbit, but got little out of her. She named many celebrities, business politicians, Elon Musk, Andrew M. Cuomo. Yeah, John F. Kerry was at my house. Yes, he was. I don't know. Elon Musk, I don't remember him. If he was ever at I don't even know how old he is. Isn't he younger than me? I'm not sure. Elon Musk, let me see. I've never even thought about him because I just thought he was younger. He's 54. He's just a few years younger than me. He's 5 years younger than me. Okay. Yeah. I did have kids my age come into my house, but they were my classmates. But there were kids my age who were my relatives who were brought. He lived in South Africa, right? And so he would have, I don't know. Did Elon Musk travel to U.S. and child? And okay, let's just say the 1980s, right? He was 5 years younger than me. In 1980, he would have been 10 when I was 15, right? In 1980, I was 14 turning 15 in 1980. End of 80, turned 15. He would have been 10 or something. So in, let's just say like the 80s, 1980s. No, Elon Musk did not travel to the United States in the 1980s. He immigrated to Canada in 1989 and then moved to the U.S. in 1992 to begin his undergraduate studies at the University of Pennsylvania. Oh, so him and Trump went to the same school. I didn't know that. Didn't know. But he did not travel to the U.S. with his family? Did travel to the U.S. with his family in the 1980s. No, that's what they say. He grew up in Pretoria, South Africa. His parents, Errol and May Musk, divorced in 1981, and he lived primarily with his father. It's the fathers that usually bring him to my house. At age 17, he moved to Canada. He obtained Canadian citizenship, and that's in 88. Through his Canadian-born mother, and felt it would be easier to immigrate to the U.S. from there. He moved to the U.S. to attend the university in 95. Wow, he hasn't been here that long. 95, that's a long time ago. Well, it's a long time ago, but I mean, he wasn't even here for the murders in 1994. So in 2002, it was less than, well, I guess it was more than 20 years ago now. It was pretty recent, though, 2002, that he became a naturalized U.S. citizen. Okay, so he didn't travel with his family, with his father. Okay, he moved to Canada. So that's 88. I'm already like left home and I'm an adult, I'm already married and everything in 88. So yeah, I think that's the time when in 88, that's when I got I separated from my ex-husband. 9/11, 1988 was when we separated, and thus 9/11. All right. Well, they say he didn't travel. See, I don't remember him at all, so I think I would remember him. He's pretty distinctive, and he's kind of weird. I think he would stand out to me, and I don't remember him at all. So it says that he wasn't in the U.S. at all. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever he's ever been around me at all. I have no idea. All right, let's get rid of all these. All right, so John F. Kerry, Edward M. Kennedy. I don't remember. Wait, Ed Kennedy. Who was that? Sarah Ferguson, Naomi Campbell, Alan Dershowitz at my house, Kevin Spacey. Don't know. I don't remember him. I don't know. I haven't thought about it, but. And Larry Summers. Don't know who he is. Edward M. Kennedy. I don't know who that is either. But the Kennedys were all at my house in the 70s, you know, John Jr. and all that, all the Kennedy cousins. But I don't know who Edward M. Kennedy is. You know, I didn't know all their names. So this might have been one of my cousins, right? I'm related, you know. One of my genetic fathers was JFK. Okay, just so you know. But said, you know, talking about all these celebrities, they were simply friends or had business relationships with her and Mr. Epstein. So ridiculous. She described, for instance, how she and Mr. Musk had met in 2010 or 2011 at a party for Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google. By the way, I named Google, okay? That's a whole story, and, you know, it's really, you know, I'm the founder of Google. I mean, you know, with my money built Google. And said that she had learned through legal discovery that Mr. Musk and Mr. Epstein had communicated by email. Mr. Musk, in the midst of a public spat with Mr. Trump earlier this year, had said that the president's name was in the Epstein files and that this is why they have not been made public. And it's true. Ms. Maxwell also said Mr. Epstein had been close to Ehud Barak, the former prime minister of Israel, but under further questioning, she said she remembered little of their encounters or why he had been close to Mr. Epstein. I wonder why they were close. Maxwell denied working with intelligence agencies. Of course, you would deny it. If you work with intelligence agencies, you wouldn't admit that publicly. You have to protect classified information. You're not permitted to speak freely and release that publicly. One of the conspiracy theories surrounding Mr. Epstein is the unfounded accusation that the SEX was a means to collect blackmail material on his powerful and influential associates. That's what the CIA does routinely. They make sure everybody that, you know, that is that works for them. They can't work for the CIA until the CIA sets them up and gets dirt on them. That's the way they operate. And that's why they were all brought to my house, because that's something they have on them. And that's how they can control all the people that were brought to my house. You know, oh, we're going to release this. We're going to tell everybody, you know, that you're a PEDO, that you are an 8-year-old child, you know. This is what they do. I mean, they have no problem letting them do it or setting it up for them to do it. And they just use it to, you know, they know it's incriminating and it's what they can use to control them. Particularly in right-wing circles, the theory goes further to suggest that Mr. Epstein was being paid for the blackmail effort in connection with intelligence and law enforcement agencies like the FBI, the CIA, and even the Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency. I didn't know it was called the Mossad. I didn't know that. Yeah, he was. My people involved him in all that stuff. They did. I know they did. Ms. Maxwell emphatically denied most of those accusations because she's required by law to deny it, because she can't. That's not publicly releasable. That's not public information. She could go, you know, she could lengthen her her sentence. She could be thrown in the federal pen if she, I mean, I know she's from Britain, but, you she signed some kind of NDA or, had a certain clearance in her own country, the UK, and then that transfers over. They work in, the different intelligence agencies work together in different countries, emphatically, she has to emphatically deny that because she goes to the federal pen and has a longer sentence if she says anything. And she said that she had no knowledge of others. In one particularly noteworthy exchange, Mr. Blanche asked if she had ever had contact with a Mossad agent. Well, not deliberately. Oh, okay, Ms. Maxwell said. Pardon me, Mr. Blanche asked. She repeated, not deliberately. Mr. Blanche did not ask what she meant by that and moved on. Oh, of course. Of course. Let's protect not the innocent, but the powerful. Okay, so that's it for that. Okay, let's talk about this. Epstein files. Let me just make sure you can see everything. Okay, I think you can, right? Yeah. Okay. This one is not written the same way. I wonder if the New York Times does that intentionally so you can read read their stuff. Let's see. Wait, let me just look at this better here. I guess you can, right? You can see this. Yeah. Okay, I guess it's all right. Epstein files released to Congress are mostly recycled documents, Democrat says. This was released today. This afternoon, this was released. Representative Summer Lee, Democrat Pennsylvania, said that just 3% of the 33,295 pages of documents connected to Jeffrey Epstein given to Congress contained new information, according to Oversight Committee Democrats' initial review. The remaining 97% of pages included information previously released by the Department of Justice, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, or the Palm Beach County State Attorney's Office, Lee said. A spokesperson for the GOP House Oversight Committee said that the committee intends to make these records public after thorough review. Okay. So far, there's nothing released that we don't already know. So there she is. She participates in a subcommittee hearing of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. on July 23rd, 2025. That was the day of Brian Kohberger's sentencing hearing. Representative Summer Lee, Democrat, Pennsylvania, in a statement on Saturday, criticized the release of the first trove of documents related to the late convicted SEX offender Jeffrey Epstein as incomplete and predominantly recycled content already made available to the public. Lee, a member of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform last month, filed the motion to compel President Donald Trump's Justice Department to release files related to Epstein. And good for you. I'm so glad she did that. The Justice Department gave Congress the first batch of documents on Friday to comply with a subpoena issued by the committee earlier this month. But Lee said Saturday that just 3% of the 33,295 pages of documents, wow, that's a lot of pages, turned over to Congress contained new information, according to Oversight Committee Democrats' initial review. The remaining 97. I just read all of this? I guess that's what's in the highlights at the beginning. The remaining 97% of pages included information previously released by the Department of Justice, the blah, blah, blah. she said in a statement. It wasn't immediately clear what information the documents contained and what or how much was redacted. Lee said that the only new disclosure in the tranche of documents was fewer than 1,000 pages of flight location logs of Epstein's plane from 2000 to 2014. Mhm. Trump's DOJ is pretending to respond to the subpoena, she said in a statement. The released Epstein documents are largely thousands of pages of recycled content already made available to the public. Representative Robert Garcia, Democrat, California, the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, also slammed the initial document release. DOJ's limited disclosure raises more questions than answers and makes clear that the White House is not interested in justice for the victims or the truth. Yeah, right, for the victims or the truth. Yeah, that's me. I'm the truth. I'm also a victim, Garcia said in a statement posted on X on Saturday. I wonder if he's referring to me at all. Well, these people have security clearances. They know all about me. Look at Moulin Rouge. What is that? Trump, why don't you release the Epstein files? A screen about the oh, look at this. A screen about the Jeffrey Epstein files is displayed at Times Square in New York City, U.S. on July 23rd. Isn't that interesting? I love New York. Thank you. He's a New Yorker too. So that's what he looked like when I knew him. He had brown hair. In my mind, because I've seen so many modern day pictures of him, I just see him with gray hair now. I can't get the gray hair out of my mind. But yeah, as I think about it, I do, I can see him with the brown hair too at that time. Yeah. A spokesperson for the Republican House Oversight Committee said Friday that the production contains thousands of pages of documents. The committee intends to make these records public after thorough review to ensure any victim's identification and child SA material are redacted, the spokesperson said. The Epstein files have been a thorn in Republicans' side in recent weeks, as many Republicans, including some of Trump's strongest supporters, have repeatedly urged the administration to follow through on its campaign promise. That's right, it was a promise he made during the campaign, and release documents connected to the case. The release of the initial batch of files to Congress on Friday came on the same day that the Justice Department released new transcripts from its interview last month with Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah, of course. Yeah, trying to water it down with her stupid false interview protecting Donald Trump. Maxwell, who is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence, told Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche that she did not know of any wrongdoing by Trump in connection with Epstein, according to the transcripts, which also show that she praised the president. Oh, it's so obvious. It's so blatant. There's nothing new here. I'm looking at CNN here. I pulled up a webpage of theirs. Okay, what we're still wondering after the release of Maxwell's interview transcripts. Let's read that. Here's what we're still wondering after the release of Maxwell's interview transcripts. Well, the public has learned a good deal of information after the Justice Department released a transcript of an interview with Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine. I really like that name, Ghislaine. That is really pretty. I've never heard that name ever before in my life. And I didn't know her name. I don't believe. Maybe I was introduced to her. I think I was. But Ghislaine is just such an unusual name. I would not have remembered it. I struggle with names. Ghislaine. But now that I understand and hear her pronounce it and see the spelling, it is kind of a cool name. I wonder what language it is and what it means. I guess I'm just curious. I'm going to just try and look it up. What does the name Ghislaine mean? The name Ghislaine, it's a French name for girls meaning pledge or hostage. Oh my goodness. It is derived from the Germanic word gazelle, and is a feminine form of the name Ghislaine, which refers to a 7th century Belgian saint. Has Germanic roots, but a French connection. And it's also the name of a saint in Belgium. Commitment and loyalty, meaning pledge. It can signify a sense of commitment and loyalty, security. The term hostage can also be interpreted metaphorically to symbolize someone holding your heart, promising safety and keeping one's promises to love and protect. Humanitarianism, the association with Saint Ghislaine, suggests a humanitarian spirit, a desire to help others, and a potential for leadership. Okay, I was just wondering. So it's Germanic roots, French name with Belgian history. Okay. Okay, so outstanding questions still remain after the interview with Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. According to Ellie Honig, CNN senior legal analyst, the verity of Maxwell's answers to Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is still up for debate. Maxwell was convicted of trafficking minors following a 4-week trial in 2021. She is appealing. I don't know how DOJ could put this out there as some sort of truth teller telling us the truth. It's really hard to swallow, Honig told CNN tonight. And as a prosecutor who worked for the Southern District of New York around the same time as Blanche, Honig questioned the Deputy Attorney General's odd style of interviewing Maxwell. I've done countless interviews like this. Todd has done countless interviews like this. I know that I know how to do it, and I know that Todd knows how to do it. And this is not it, Honig said. He said Blanche sort of hurried through his line of questioning, which led him to ask, what was the point? Well, Honig said he doesn't know. He added that he thinks the interview may have been to exonerate Donald Trump. Of course it was. Of course. They rushed down there to get her interview before anyone else could subpoena her and get an interview. That was Trump's doing. He wanted that done and take control. He wanted to take control of her. And he knew he had leverage because she's in prison, and she doesn't want to be. She wants a get out of jail free card, right? He said Blanche sort of, okay. And look, on the face, Ghislaine Maxwell does exonerate Trump, and there's nothing to the contrary anywhere else on the record, Koenig said. But politically, if this is designed to promote transparency, I think it's going to achieve the opposite effect. Yeah, I mean, it's just so obvious that she's trying to get out of prison by telling the story Trump wants told. So sad. Okay, and here's the transcripts right there. I'm not going to go through them. So why did they release? CNN's Christian Holmes explains why the Justice Department is releasing the Maxwell transcripts now. And this was, when was this? It was today. No, it was yesterday. The Justice Department yesterday released transcripts and audio from an interview between Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. CNN senior White House correspondent Kristen Holmes explains why the Department of Justice is releasing the information now. Oh, okay, I thought they were going to tell us in writing why. I don't want to play it. Okay, here are the main things. Okay, here are some of the top lines from the 377-page document. Okay, so new details about the relationship between Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein were revealed in the full transcript, released today of an interview last month with the Justice Department. Maxwell answered hours of questions from Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Here are some of the top lines from the 377-page documents. Cameras. She said she was responsible for hiring electricians for all of Epstein's properties around the world and that she was not aware of any secret surveillance systems or inappropriate cameras. Rumors have long swirled around accusations that Epstein covertly recorded powerful men illegally engaging with underage girls. Okay. There were cameras everywhere. You saw them in the photos. They were visible, though. So there weren't, I don't know, but he probably had hidden cameras. Epstein's behavior. Blanche asked Maxwell if Epstein seemed to you to be a deviant and specifically pointed to young women who traveled with him everywhere. And she said, I think it would be an understatement to say that that's not normal. Or I guess that's what Blanche said, the Attorney General. Deputy Attorney General. To which Maxwell replied, I agree. Distancing from Epstein regarding the allegations that Epstein abused UNDERAGE girls. I shouldn't have said that word. Sorry. Maxwell said, I never saw that with them at all. Oh, that is so wrong. Oh, my God. But added, I'm not saying that Mr. Epstein did not do those things in an attempt to distance herself from him. Maxwell said, I am not here to defend him. I never saw that with them at all. Oh, she is so bad. She was right there see, that's how you know she's lying about everything, because I know she's lying about me. I was right there. She was watching as he was, how old was I? 13 years old, I think. Towards the end. Yeah, I was 13 years old. So she is definitely lying. I happen to know. That makes it official that she said that. No, I don't know anything about. I never saw that with them at all. That he aid underage girls. She saw him A-ing me. In the interview, Maxwell said, I do not believe he died by doing away with himself. No. She was asked to speculate. Well, at least she was honest about that. She was asked to speculate on who might have K'd him, and she said she didn't know, though did suggest it could have been an unrelated attack in prison. Okay, whatever. Or maybe he lives, right? She might know that. No client list. Maxwell said there is no Epstein client list and gave an explanation which seemed to confuse Blanche. Okay. I don't know. I know there's a client list. I'm sure there is. Okay. They said there was, and now they're saying there's not. Trump. She said she never witnessed anything untoward in President Donald Trump's friendship with Epstein and never heard of any allegations that Trump acted inappropriately. And she never heard of any allegations that he acted inappropriately with anyone. She was there and she saw everything. She also complimented Trump for his extraordinary achievement of becoming president. Yeah, good. Amazing that such a criminal could become president of the United States. That's unbelievable. That's what she was saying. Massages and Mar-a-Lago. Maxwell said she didn't see Trump in any massage setting or in Epstein's house. Oh, that is so full of it. She's so full of it. She also said she didn't recall, but it was possible that masseuses from the spot Mar-a-Lago where Epstein visited had given private massages to Epstein. Yes. Maxwell denied ever recruiting a woman from Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. Oh, she's so full of it. Other big names. Maxwell said she once went on a dinosaur bone hunting trip with Epstein and Heath and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And she said that she never saw anything inappropriate with Mr. Kennedy. Oh, because she's going out of her way to say that, I believe she must have. Maybe she was asked, but believe me, she saw a lot. She also said, to her knowledge, former President Bill Clinton never received a massage while in her presence and never went to Epstein's private island. Oh, but he's on the flight log. I've heard that he went to the island. I don't know. Maybe I'm just believing all the lies of Trump. I don't know. Okay. Right. This is all the same. This is another article. It's called "Almost All of Epstein's Files Given to Congress Were Already Public," Democrats say. Here, I'll just share this. I don't think there's much much new here, but only 3% of the documents given to the oversight committee are new, and that's Democratic Representative Ro Khanna, a member of the committee, said in a statement. The rest are already in public domain. Less than 1% of files have been released. DOJ is stonewalling. The survivors deserve justice, and the public deserves transparency. Democratic Representative Robert Garcia of California, the ranking member of the Oversight Committee, said the limited disclosure raises more questions than answers. Yeah, we read that. Okay. Okay, the only new disclosure, he said, was less than 1,000 pages from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection's log of flight locations of Epstein's plane from 2000 to 2014 and forms consistent with re-entry back to the U.S. President Donald Trump's administration has been criticized for the lack of new information released about the case, and Attorney General Pam Bondi came under fire for initially promising a massive release of files, only to say months later that there was nothing the public would gain from it, because she didn't realize that Donald Trump was all throughout the file. On the same day, the Justice Department files were handed over to lawmakers. DOJ released transcripts of Ghislaine Maxwell's interview with the Deputy Attorney General, where she talked about meeting Trump, the relationship between Epstein and Bill Clinton, and denied introducing Prince Andrew to the late disgraced financier. The majority of the government's Epstein files, estimated to be around 100,000 pages, have not been released to the public. More files will be turned over to the Oversight Panel, which promised to release them after redacting personal information. But it's unclear when the next tranche of files will be sent to Capitol Hill. The committee continues to review the 34,000 pages of documents and has no further update at this time, the committee spokesperson told McClatchy. It's important to note that this is the first batch of documents from the DOJ, with more to come. House Republicans are struggling with how to handle the Epstein issue, while many of their supporters want the files released. A public disclosure also risks revealing potentially embarrassing information about how the Epstein investigation was handled and President Trump's friendship with the late financier. The president has said ties with Epstein ended long before Epstein was indicted for soliciting PROSTITUTION in 2006. Epstein died in federal custody in 2019 while awaiting trial on federal charges related to ST. Democrats, meanwhile, are keeping the pressure on. The House of Representatives will face a vote on public disclosure of the files when lawmakers return to Washington after Labor Day weekend. Kana and Republican Representative Thomas Massey of Kentucky are co-sponsoring a discharge petition designed to force the release of the Epstein files. Good. To keep the public pressure on, Kana and Massey will host an event with 10 Epstein victims at the Capitol building. Oh, September 3rd. That's when I get paid. On September 3rd, I'm holding a press conference with survivors of Epstein and Maxwell's abuse. Some will be speaking for the first time. We'll hear from them why releasing this information is so important, Kana said. President Trump said on Friday he supports the release of files and urged Bondi to turn them over. Oh, really? Is that right? Meanwhile, prior to this, he was saying we'll just let the attorney general decide what is credible, and she'll only release the credible information in the file. Yeah, kind of hinting to her, just not my information because it's not credible. Innocent people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that could be mentioned under those files that don't deserve to be. What? Why don't they deserve to be named? If they're innocent, they can they can talk and speak openly about it and declare their innocence. I think that it's clear to I think that the American people can read between the lines. I think the American people are a little smarter than everyone takes them to be. He added, but I have said to Pam and everybody else, give them everything you can give them because it's a Democratic hoax and it's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax. No, it's not. That's what he wants everyone to think. Oh, it's so disgusting. And this is the man we made president. I mean, I just can't even believe it. It's like a nightmare. All right. I'm not. That's it. That's all I got today. Let's see, where am I? Here we are. I'm going to unshare. Stop sharing. I've been on for about an hour, This is a good time to stop. I just go on and on too long, don't I? Well, I don't see anyone on here today. Let's just make sure there aren't any comments or any chat. Yeah. No. Everybody's abandoned me today. Yeah, really looking forward to the files being fully released. They're dragging their feet. Dragging their feet. Just thinking about everything, it's just it's such an impossible situation with the Trump administration being in office, It's such an impossible situation. And it's put that way. I mean, this is all rigged. It's all in place for a reason. And I don't know what's going to happen. I just think our world is just going to hell. And I mean, I just don't think that this world, I don't believe this administration Trump would rather blow up the world than release those files and release me and declassify me. And I knew that before I just never thought that he would be allowed to return to office. It's just a nightmare. Really, I mean, if there are different versions of reality, this is like the worst case scenario reality here on Earth. It really is. It's doomsday. It really is. I just see that everything's falling apart. I'm I want to be declassified. I want to be fully, and I know I will be, but I just don't see how it's possible in with this world and this administration. I just don't. It's very sad. I just don't see it happening. So, as I said on my thumbnail, yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, he was put in place by my people. When I was a child, I remembered this live. You saw me remembering it live. And this is really important. It's really important for you to understand my memory process, for the world to understand my memory process, and everybody else who's studying me and to understand me and evaluate me, I guess. Um, they start as little inklings, little hints, and you know, if you just don't pay attention, you won't remember things that are really important to your life. You have to really your brain kind of, at least my brain, kind of sets it up like, and I think this is probably similar with everybody. It you know, it kind of your brain kind of sets it up like, if you really want to know this, you will dig deeper and you will remember more. But if you don't want to know this, just pass it on by and just forget about it, and just overlook it. That's the way the brain works when you're remembering trauma. And, you just look at it and it looks on the surface to be insignificant, as an insignificant little detail. And then you look deeper and you see more, you can see more. It opens up more to you. Your brain won't open it up unless you consciously want it opened. It waits for you to initiate a deeper inspection, and then it opens up and gives you more information, and then it waits for you to look deeper and deeper. And this is how memories open up in my mind and surface and reveal themselves. And yeah, yesterday I suddenly remembered it. It can happen really quickly too. I mean, it takes forever, but then when I'm having the right conversation and the the right, with the right triggers, suddenly things can appear in my mind and I remember things that I didn't ever remember before. And yesterday live, I remembered my people telling uh, Epstein that he was going to one day help me. And he, at the time, he was just like, "Oh, really? Okay." He didn't pledge to help me at that time. It was later that he pledged to help me when he accepted all of the money and influence and opportunities and interactions that he accepted, that my people gave to him. So he's gonna help me, I guess. I mean, or it's either our world blows up, Trump blows us up, and this has happened before, or Epstein is saves the day and is my savior. It's either or. We're going we're going down. It's hell. I mean, I can't get over how bad it is, and I have the greatest hope. I mean, I was promised a life. I was not born for no reason at all. I was not born to just forget everything and never fulfill my mission. There was too much time, energy, money was put into nurturing me and helping me survive this impossible life. I'm not meant to just die, in obscurity. I'm not meant to just be nothing and be in the garbage can my whole life. I'm not. Too much time, energy, money. I mean, so much money went into my life. even if I don't have it for myself to enjoy, it took a lot of money to protect me and nurture me. And, everybody has protected me from afar. There's like a whole team, Claire, that surrounds me wherever I go, whatever I do. And I don't even know that they're around me at all. They're invisible. They're very good. I mean, I have my suspicions sometimes. Every so often, somebody pops out, and I'm like, did somebody, we went to the junkyard not so long ago. I've mentioned it. And there was a guy waiting for us, it seemed. He's a guy from the Virgin Islands. He was part of the army there. And he's like, "Hi, what are you here for?" "Oh, let me help you." I mean, he was just there waiting for us. He had his whole tool, and we didn't bring any tools. I don't know why. I guess Dean and I thought we were just gonna rip some mirror off somebody. We weren't going to take the whole assembly, but he's like, "No, let's get one," and he went through the list, and we went through the cars, and we got a 2010 mirror assembly. It was great. I mean, it was such it was a miracle. And I'm like, "Did somebody send you to help us?" And he's like, "No, I was just here for my friend, and this is what I do." And I'm like, "Can I, I don't have any cash on me, or what can I do?" And he's like, "Oh, just," he told me his name, and that he's the Jamaican food guy in a certain area of New York, and just look for him, and I guess he's got a restaurant or something. Anyway, I just, little things like that, and little moments like that, I just know, how much people around me, how people are helping me and always helping me behind the scenes, whether I feel it or know it, you know. There's always people filming me, That's why I'm really looking forward to seeing all the documentaries, all the films they've created. I mean, it must be they have so much footage of me. I can't even imagine how many films could be made out of it, or how would they ever go about releasing all that footage, It must be really interesting. It must be hilarious too. I mean, I just know there are so many m people that show up and create, like, interesting scenarios, and they see my reaction, they get it on film, and I'd really love to see that. I would really love to see it. All right. Well, I guess we've come to a place where, it's a little over an hour, and I think we're good, right? That's enough for today. I guess I'll see you tomorrow. We're gonna keep going the Jeffrey Epstein way here, and yeah, I still haven't seen those documentaries. I'm gonna watch them between now and tomorrow so I can talk about them. Um, and we'll keep going. We'll keep with this Epstein subject matter. He's the key. He's the key. He's my savior. Come on, Jeffrey, do your thing. Do it. I know you're out there. I know you live. Do your do, do achieve your mission. Do achieve your mission. Your mission was not what you've been doing all those years, all the pain and suffering you caused me and others. This is going to be your true mission. This is what's going to help your situation and help the world. It's what you owe it to me, and you owe it to the world. Go for it. I'm looking forward to seeing how you do it. All right. Well, have a nice evening. Hope everyone's well. I deserve your thumbs up. So, give me a thumbs up, will you please? And, subscribe if you haven't already. That is if you can handle the truth. And I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Bye. Peace out. Oh, let me do my outro.